Welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News again without Scott Allen. I guess there's always a good thing in the long list of long things that not good. Got Brian White sitting over here. He's off camera right this minute, but we'll get him on in a few minutes. The head man in charge of race directing, Dustin Ellis, and the head man in the tech shed, Brian Crawford, who says it's a good day to be at the racetrack.
I can't get the season started.
So anyway, all right, our show tonight is brought to you by Papa John's. We got our Papa John's pizza. The only person's had any is Mason. Of course, I was expecting that anyway. So let's talk about some of our other sponsors we got. NC 811, thanks to Brian Morehouse. GAC, Great American Companies and Enterprises. Guillermo Amaya runs that corporation from up in Herndon, Virginia. Got a great, he's got a lot of business going on in the area, a lot of construction and stuff like that going on. Bondrick Brothers Distillery in Chase City, Virginia. Robert Bondrick, thanks to Robert for all he does, and hopefully I'll be up there within the next few days and be picking up some more stuff from him. Pepsi, the drink of choice. I drank a Mountain Dew on behalf of Scott Allen tonight, but that's not my favorite drink out of the group. Mpm Marketing. Tanya McAllister, if you need anything as far as marketing your team, she does uniforms, she does promotion, she does a lot of classes on how to deal with sponsors. She's the person to talk to. Factory Canopies, they give us the tablecloths and the chairs. I let my guests sit in, I don't sit in them. I let my guests have them. I'm that kind of good person. Black Acid Apparel, they've done some shirts for us. I didn't wear one tonight, but we're gonna have some. Matter of fact, I got to give my friend Justin here one of them shirts. He actually likes. I gave him a hat. I ain't never seen it on you.
I want it.
Okay. Safety Clean. That's a Scott Allen. I keep saying Brian. Maybe you're gonna take over the show. We just don't know yet. Scott Allen sponsor. Performance Plus Motor Oil and Langley Speedway. Of course, Bill Mullis, Chuck Hall, Vaughn Crittenden. I want to thank all of them for letting us have this place at Langley Speedway to hold our show. So that's a big deal for us. I also want to do the Smith Wraps and Graphics news for this past week. In the Cup Series, Alex Bowman got the win. Of course, I think Kyle Busch said he could buy his car at Walmart. His car was good no matter what, and just buy them at Walmart. In the Xfinity tie, Gibbs got the win. In the Truck Series, Chandler Smith. The second place truck of Zane Smith got DQ'd because of the lug nuts. I understand they cut the studs back on there, so they didn't have to. Well, it didn't work. Let's put it that way. That's the best way of saying it. At the All-American racetrack down at Roseville, the Modifieds was won by Brandon White. The Pro Late Models by Dylan Zampa. At Florence, the Modifieds ran. Matt Hirschman got the win. You know who won the late model, Mason?
Where
Down at Florence. You know,
five car. I know his name was on the tip of my tongue. I used to ride a race with his brother. Casey Kelly.
Okay. At Southern National, the Bandos, Bryson Brinkley won. The limited late models, Brad McCaskill won, and Josh Lauder got the late model win. At Montgomery, in the Alabama 200, the winner was Hunter Robbins. The Modifieds was Augie Grill, and in the Outlaws, Chad Chaffin got the Outlaw win. Down at Hickory Motor Speedway, the dual winner in the late models was Connor Hall. Went down there and just got two good wins. Ever since he hooked up with Chad Bryan, he looks pretty decent.
That looks really great.
So, limited late models, Michael Bumgardner got the win. Up at Motor Mile, in the Mod 4s, Brittany Cockrum got the win. And in the Sportsman Series, Darren Cockrum and Carl Bavinsky got the wins in the Sportsman. And Mike Looney got 2 wins in the late models. And then down at Goodyear, Dylan Newsom got the light model win down there. So that's the news for today, or for them. So now we're gonna turn this thing over here to let's see, do we have any questions started yet? No, we don't have any started yet. So I guess I'll just start off with anything going on that you'd like to talk about to start with, to get off your chest, anything you got changes coming up or whatever.
No, it's really not, excuse me, there's really not a lot of changes going on this year. We're trying to keep everything consistent. It'll be a good start of the season. Looking forward to start the season out right. Be my first full year here at Langley Speedway. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think we made good momentum and good ground last year between the officials and the operation staff here. So I'm definitely looking forward to kicking off a good year, starting out on the right foot, I guess you'd say.
So do all your officials coming back from last year, as far as you know? Or?
As far as we know, yes, sir.
That's a good thing. That's pretty good situation to have everybody back.
And then we're also trying to, we got a few applications out right now that we're looking to add a few other people to us right now. So it'll be an impressive staff. Will be some green, some seasoned. So, but the good thing about a team is if you can build it the way it needs to be built, it'll last forever.
I agree with you. And over there, Mr. Crawford, I know it's a good day to be at the racetrack, but you all set up and ready to go down there in your tech shed and ready for the season start?
Yeah, I got a few things I've purchased and some new play toys.
Oh, so the guys need to be worried about these new play toys coming?
A few of them do.
So a few. That was kind of what I was expecting. Anyway, all right. I asked everybody to send in questions this week, and I got a bunch of them earlier, but I'm just going to go through. If you have a question, put it up there. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the questions that I got. And one of the questions is, and I think Bill, he pretty much addressed this at the banquet the other night about tires and everything. So tell us, in your terms, what the tire situation is, what you can tell us. Just tell us what the tire situation is. For all the other classes, do not go to the limited late model yet.
Okay. All right. So Bill has definitely been working very diligently with Hoosier, Hoosier Mid-Atlantic, Hoosier Corporate. He's been talking a lot back and forth, trying to get the answers that we need to make sure that our season is successful. And I think he's worked very hard to make sure that when it comes down to it, that the competitors here have a place to race. And that's the key point. It's kind of what we went into a protection mode last year after the first couple of races, because we knew the issue was coming. And it looks like it didn't get any better in the off season either. Hoosier's doing everything they possibly can to get what we need. But Bill has made sure that he has spoke up for Larry King Law's Langley Speedway to make sure that we do have a place to race week to week. So with that being said, we have been promised, and hopefully everything goes the way it is, but anything can change at any time, is we're definitely going to have the same amount of tires that we had last year. So, I mean, that's a good thing. There are going to be probably some trials and tribulations we have to go through where we won't be able to use the same tire schedule as far as new tires per week or 2 per week, that type of deal. But we're strategically planning a situation in order to make sure that we are able to complete a full race season.
So with that being said, you talk about each division having like a set number of tires that you have programmed in, but things may change as time goes along.
It is, because I mean, we all know about the product that goes into tires and everything else. I mean, we don't like to refer to it as a shortage. There's a situation where we're trying to overcome. It's not a shortage. It's just basically we're at the mercy sometimes of how they're building the tires as well. It's not about what's going on, but everybody has to understand that they're building the tires as fast as they can, but they can't run all the models at the same time. So
from your standpoint, let's look at your standpoint, this supply chain thing that we've got going on in the country right now. How bad is that affecting all this? As far as parts and things that you're going to have to be looking at during the year and things like that.
There are a lot of parts that are being affected. A lot of the phone calls that Brian has taken and I've taken as well, and the track has taken also. The track has or the competitors are asking us to look at different avenues because there are shortages on certain products that they can't buy over the counter anymore. A lot of companies have back orders on a lot of stuff, so it creates a large situation where it comes down to parts and pieces to go in the race car. I feel that we're going to be okay, but like I said, we can't control the supply chain. So the only thing we can control right now is we have been told in communications with Hoosier that we're going to have tires to race on. That's the key point.
What about scuffs? Are we going to do the same things? We have the scuff tires over there for somebody to use if you get to that point where,
like I said, we're strategically planning because we didn't see the issue when it came down to supply last year with the tires until we were about 4 or 5 races in, maybe a little bit past that. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 races in, where we started trying to plan to make sure we had a whole season. So hopefully we're ahead of that now, where we might go into the same effect that we had last year. We started everybody off on 4 or 5 tires, and from there we will go down to maybe 1 tire a week until we can make sure we control the tires and make sure that we have enough for the whole year.
all right, now in that same vein, let's say practice will not be having practice. That was another question I got was, will they be practice area time for them during the year? But because of the tire situation, that may not be feasible.
After speaking with our operations team here, that everybody's involved when it comes down to tires, as far as people the track purchasing tires and how we control them. Right now, we're going to probably start off on the same avenue that we had last year, what we finished out with. So practice tires right now do not look like they're going to be sold to begin with until we can gauge exactly what we have coming in. Right now, we have orders going in that we're trying to get tires here, but at the same time, we don't know what we're promised 100% yet. They're saying, well, if we put in an order for 200 tires, we might only get 100 tires that week because they're constantly building tires and trying to get the supply and demand to us. So right now, we're definitely looking at trying to start off the year the same way we finished the year out last year, minus, we know we had to put everybody on tires to begin with because a lot of the competitors used up their tires at the end of the year last year, and they were scrambling in order to get tires.
All right, I'm gonna give you a scenario.
Okay.
And let's say, and I don't want to call names out, but to make my point, we probably have to. But you have a team cars,
Mm-hmm.
1, 2 cars, 2, 3 cars, whatever. You have those. They show up opening night. Everybody gets the same amount of tires, but these other 2 cars or other cars in the field may not race here all the time.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to go about dealing with that as far as, okay, this team got all these tires, so they can go home, and now the other 2 cars going to set, we're going to take tires off there and put it on there. Are you going to mark these tires, or are you going to do something to make sure that that's the way it is?
Yeah, we have some plans in place right now. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag right now.
Well, I don't want you to do that. I just want to say that it's going to be looked at.
They are. They're definitely going to be looked at. I mean, they're going to be at least marked and recorded the same way they were in the years previous, but there's also some other avenues that we're working on that's probably going to help us even more to make sure that we understand and make sure that the tires stay with the team, stay with that car number, and not get mixed up accidentally, because it never happens on purpose. It's always accidentally.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not done. I mean, it's not. Guys don't do stuff like that.
No.
I mean, that's not.
But no, there are some avenues going in place right now. Some stuff that we've worked on that Bill has been working very diligently on in order to help the tire situation and make sure that we can control everything in our best effort. And we have to look at it this way. I mean, there are teams that, I'm not saying they go above and beyond in order to get through the cracks, but sometimes stuff does slip through the crack, whether it's our fault or somebody else's fault. It does slip through the cracks, but it's how we correct that issue and moving forward. That's how we need to make sure that it gets handled.
It was like it was, and I don't know, Mason was at Martinsville, and I was at Martinsville, and I saw, the tire rule was this way at Martinsville.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way we were going to do it. And then all of a sudden, I see all these tires coming through the tunnel. I mean, people bringing tires in, and I mean, there were some teams that had 15, 20 tires there. So, I mean, is that something we're going to make sure we have a way of?
When it comes to practice tires, I mean, if they have tires from other racetracks that they didn't use, that type of deal, as long as they're the right compound on the track here, then that's fine. I have no problem with it. I mean, no team's ever going to use a compound that they're not using here. because the car's going to react different compared to an F50, compared to an F45. So when it comes down to it, if they want to bring some other tires in for practice, that's okay. But the race tires are the race tires. That's the reason why the tire team goes through and does a great job trying to record all the numbers and making sure that the tires on the car during qualifying, and as soon as qualifying is over with, before they race, to make sure those same tires are on there. I mean, we are spread thin sometimes, where sometimes we don't get a chance to do every division, but we try to hit the highlights of every division to make sure that we know that the tires are on the car, especially at twin nights. After a twin night race, I mean, first race to get done, the second race we try to make sure we're going through and make sure all the tires are still on the car.
So that's basically going to be the same thing that you're going to look at, even with the big event like the Hampton Heat and stuff like that. This is the same type of rules will apply at that point.
We can't 100% say the same rules will apply when that situation is, because the Hampton Heat is later in the year. Hopefully Hoosier we've got everything figured out, and the supply and demand issue won't be the same. We were very fortunate last year when it came down to the Hampton Heat, of preparing to make sure that we had enough tires of what we thought the car count was going to be. We went back and checked year after year after year and came up with an average car count. So we kind of had an idea of where we needed to be, and we were very fortunate to make sure that happened. We were a track that was able to do 10 tires for the weekend, and then that was between race tires and also between practice tires. So every team had the same advantage no matter what. We didn't allow anything to come in that I know of, unless it was on that Friday practice. But when it came down to Saturday, the 10 tires that we had in our impound area for practice and then for the race, that's what stayed on the cars.
You got anything you're sitting over there awful quiet now.
It sounds good.
All right, now let's look at the new class we've got coming in this year, the limited late models. Give us an update on all the stuff that's going on with the limited late models as they come on board this year as a new. And Bill pretty much addressed that too, as far as the tire situation at the banquet the other night. He addressed it. So just give us a.
So when it came down to it, when we first put the limited rules together over in the off season and tried to get them out, I know they were a little bit later than what we anticipated. We wanted to make sure they were out earlier to give the teams a chance and opportunity to build a car if they could. I think we were a few weeks behind. I think we shot them out in December, I think, if I remember correctly. So we put a good rule package together for the teams, and we wanted to put them on F45s, the same way late models are here. That way, if we ever got into that situation, we could maybe take scuffs off the late models, and then 2 new and 2 scuff type of deal for the limited late models at that point, or at that time. But with the tire situation that's going on, it's kind of hard to bring in a new division and put them on the same tire when basically right now the anticipation is to try to get exactly what we had last year. That is the goal that we're going for, and that's what we're hoping for. So with that being said, we couldn't get any more tires as of right now, but what we are planning to do is we are teaming up with Mpm Speedway. We're going to go on an American Racer tire, 8-inch tire, 8-inch rim, excuse me. And the tire that the limited late models run at Dominion, it was the concept that made more sense to make sure that both tracks could succeed.
So how is the American Racer tire, which is what a McCreary tire, really McCreary? How does that look? I mean, as far as their problems with tires, are they having any issues there that you know of?
After speaking with the operations team up at Dominion, they have not seen any issues. Every track's going to be a little bit different. It might create, in the years past, when we've tested with tires in the past, not here, but when I was at a previous company, we tested some tires, and sometimes they hold up a lot longer. Sometimes there's a little bit more chatter to it for the cars. So I don't know how it's going to react here. But in 2000 or 2020, they ran the limited late models here for the Virginia Racer. And that's what we are now. We're going to become part of the Virginia Racer program. I think it's going to be a great, tremendous success between Dominion and Langley Speedway, where competitors can go from track to track to make sure that if they're getting points up there, they might have a bad race up there where they can come down here on an off weekend and come here and race with us as well.
So the thing still remains is the points about at both tracks are being
That's correct.
going towards your national points. Or
Correct.
is it going-
Yes.
So sort of alternate weeks then, right? So one week you may be at Dominion, the next week you're in
Yep.
Langley, or at Langley.
At Langley, yeah, and then that's what I'm saying. And then the rules are so close together. There's only a few minor differences, and I work with Dominion up there, and we as a group decided, hey, listen, the rules are so close. What the few changes that Langley has compared to Dominion, it's not going to make a difference. So both tracks were very happy with the rule setup that we both came about and put together. So,
All right, now we've gone this route before here at Langley Speedway
Mhm.
with the limited late models.
correct.
Do you see that being different this time around? I know we've got a couple more people involved as far as car counts and stuff like that. Do you see that being a situation that's going to be better down this time around?
I think it's going to be a positive route.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you agree?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember in 2020, the pandemic happened. Traveling was a little bit rough. We didn't open until late in the season. At that point, there was nothing dealing with points. It was more of a collaboration between both tracks, something coming together where two tracks were trying to put something together. Dominion has a strong program up there as well. I think we have the opportunity to make the same program here. And I think the commitment that the track made this year makes a big difference. I do believe that teams in this area they do have cars. So Brian and I have both taken some phone calls of competitors that are in this area that want to race here and in Dominion, or might do more here and then a few at Dominion. And the guys at Dominion are telling me the same thing, where they're going to do some races down here as well. So I think it's going to be a positive, and it's an opportunity for limited late models to grow here like it was before, or in this area, you should say.
All right, I want you to school people like me. I guess I know some of these answers, but I want to hear it from you. Or,
It's a great day to be at the racetrack.
but I want to know what are the differences between the limited and the regular late models. Give us some of the.
Tires,
Well, I knew that. Jeez.
Coal binding.
coal binding, tying the cars down, different motor packages. Where here at Langley, or in Dominion, as far as limited late models, you can run a 604 or a steelhead engine. But also, if a steelhead engine, you have to run a specific restrictor plate that's called out in the book, the model, make, that has to be on the car here. There's the chassis are the same, the bodies are a little bit different. Of course, you can't run an upgrade engine and an upgrade engine like you can late models for the limited class. It's based off the 2018 rule book was it last year. The steelhead engine was in there, so you have to follow those rules set forth for the built engine. There are some odds and ends differences. The biggest thing is cool binding shock issues. You're not allowed to run your built shocks. We have a shock series, a Coney 30 series that you have to run on the car. And of course, when it comes down to the limiteds, when it comes down to the tech program, as far as, I mean, there's a lot of claimers in the book that you can run or protest. So they try to keep it fair. I mean, Dominion's done a really good, they've done a really great job at trying to keep all the competitors in line with each other to make sure that it runs. I mean, and I think the biggest thing is, the track here at Langley Speedway compared to Dominion, they're two different tracks. So cars are going to act different. I mean, come down here, it might be the same as it is up there, but you never can tell.
Robbie Parker's got a question here. Says traveling with fuel prices right now this is going to be tough for these guys to be doing back and forth.
Yes,
Correct.
Is that something that's been? I mean, it's only been happening the last few weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, is that something that's on the minds, on y'all's minds, as far as what happens if?
As any great racetrack, you have to kind of sit back and look at the pros and the cons when it comes down to that. We know that's going to be an issue. We're again another race season that we have an obstacle that's in our way. But the good thing about the great people here at Langley or any other racetrack, there's a bunch of great minds that try to figure out a way to get around the problem, find a solution. I don't want problems. We don't want problems. We want solutions. So how can we work through this program again? Something that might pop up again. How do we push through it to make sure that the competitors have a place to race week to week? So, I mean, and that's the case. I mean, with diesel fuel going through the roof and all fuel basically going through the roof, I mean, it's one of those things you have to look at another obstacle. How do we get through it?
All right, let's talk about racing, the racing fuel that these guys are going to be running off.
Okay.
mean, how much has that?
Didn't we talk about that earlier today?
Yeah, we did. It's one of the things that we don't know for sure. You know, Larry King Langley Speedway was operations here at this racetrack really thinks about the problems they have. We try to get out in front of them, and we don't know exactly what the price is going to be right now because we do see it jump. But it's one of the things as of right now we are prepared to move forward where it makes sense for the competitors here.
That's a good thing.
I mean, I can't promise, the next fill up, it might not be even twice the amount that it is right now. We just don't know because prices vary so much.
Christopher McIntosh says, let's talk modifieds. Give me a question on what's going on with modifieds. I mean, I haven't heard anything outlandish going on with modifieds. You got anything there we need to know about? It's a good day to be at the racetrack.
Exactly.
No, Christopher and I had a good conversation Saturday night at the banquet, and there are some things that he brought to the attention that does make he does have a valid point on a few things. It's something we have to kind of drill down here as a group, and that's the good thing about Brian and I. We work together on a daily basis. We have conversations back and forth with each other quite a bit, just so we can understand exactly what the competitors' frustrations are. I mean, and that makes perfect sense. That's the only way to have a good program that works and works well with each other, and everybody feels like they have the same fair advantage, no matter where they race at.
All right, we're going to get off of the late models and all that and go to another topic that I hope got addressed Saturday night, and you and I discussed this before.
Okay.
That's the truck deal with the truck bodies.
Okay.
Basically, what I'm talking about is Hunter Waltrip and all them are, wanting to know about what the plan is or what the situation is. They want to get their body approved. What are you guys doing about looking into this? I know Bill gave him an answer, and I'm sure you already knew about all that too. But I'm just saying,
What? I'm just kidding.
It's a great day to be at the
It's a great
racetrack.
day to be at the racetrack. I'm looking forward to a season. Great season. No, we are. We have strategically sat down. Brian and I have talked about it. We've talked about it with Bill as well. There is a plan set in place that's going to happen that we're going to try to address that situation with the body. We do understand that a lot of the stock body parts are getting harder and harder to find in the junkyards. Completely understand that. It's just like anything else, supply and demand. So we have to figure out a way to get through it. And that's going to take all of us coming together to have a good idea to make sure everything lines up the way it's supposed to be and make sure there's no specific issue when it comes down to the body. So it's one of these things we have to take a look at. And Brian and I, we've talked about it before. And then now we've gotten to an opportunity where we can actually sit down and come up with a plan and work through the problem. So like I said, I like solutions and not problems. So that's what we're trying to do.
well, I also got a question. This is another. We're stepping away from that because I figured that's done enough of that.
It's like a round robin in here right now.
One person asked me a question about the Grand Stock division.
Mhm.
Is it a possibility that the Grand Stock division is being phased out a little bit
Nah.
in the area, or are they going to be combined into another situation?
Not into our knowledge right now, no. We're planning to proceed the same way they've been for the last couple of years or last multiple years. Nothing's changed. So we're going to push forward just like it's any other division every year. So we'll have 12 divisions this year. We'll be looking to race every week.
Yeah.
Well, I done started something now. Now the people say the U-car bodies are getting where they can't find them either.
I understand.
All right, Robbie Parker had a question. This is for Brian. Robbie Parker had a question about street stock shocks. What's going on with the street stock
Street
shocks?
stock. Do we run street stock?
Super Street. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Super Street. Super
Shocks.
Street. I'm reading 2 or 3 questions here at one time, but go ahead.
Well, what do you want to know about the shop?
He just says, well, that's all he said. Was,
Yeah, that's the question.
what about?
What
Is
about
there
it?
any changes going on there?
Same as what they were last year. We tried to open it up a little bit for them, but I guess the guys in the Super Street division didn't want it, so we took it off the table.
And there's another one up here. from Dwight Nichols. It says something about I can't find it now. Will the U cars be weighed at the end of the races this year?
Yes, they were weighed a couple times last year.
Okay, that's what that was all about.
I mean, it's like any guys who have been down there and worked or seen us work. Sometimes it's hard to get every division weighed out, which Brian knows. Brian, so anybody who's out there that wants to come join a fabulous team, we're definitely looking for some help. Right,
Exactly.
It'll be a great day for them to work at the racetrack, and looking forward to a great season as well.
That's right.
But no, it's one of those things that, we try to get to every division and show every division the respect that they deserve to keep everybody in line. But sometimes on a busy night, which we've run, 11 or 12 races in a night before, and it's one of those things that gets stacked up. The tech building gets stacked up. Frustrations get going down there because they want to get back across the racetrack and they get caught in here. But everybody has to understand. I mean, everybody wants us to go through the tech and get everything together, but sometimes there's certain nights that you can't get everything done that you want to get done. If not, because we'll be here until 2 or 3 in the morning. And if the guys are okay with that, I think you'll probably be okay with it too, right?
Yeah, I mean,
But you have to understand it. It's one of those things that you have to you got to weigh the good with the bad. It might be your night to get tore completely down or to go through extensive tech, which Brian always comes up with a great plan well before the race even starts. We could have a discussion about it on Saturday morning. He says, Justin, what do you think? I said, man, that's a great idea. Let's go with it. So,
You ever told him that's not a good idea? You need to stay in your lane.
do I tell him that?
Yeah.
Negative.
it helps out a lot if the competitors would bring tools down with them instead of having to wait for a race and get back over to get the tools and come back. It'd help them get out of here a lot earlier.
So they don't bring the tools with them when they
Some
come
of
in?
them
There's some divisions that do not. That's been a situation from the very beginning since I started down in tech with Brian and Shane Laws and a couple other people. It was an issue that, you always, hey, I got to go back across the racetrack. Well, can you go bar right real fast? Let's get you done. Because, I mean, as a tech inspector, Brian, you've gone through it too. I mean, you're seeing other divisions start to stack up on top of each other. So
it'll be nice. I have 3 divisions sitting there looking at each other.
But the thing is, I mean, they could easily go down through there and maybe pick up enough to get something done, to get it over with and get it out the door. I mean, that's something they need to be prepared for ahead of time.
Yes, they do.
So I'm speaking like an official now.
Jack, do you want to have a great day at the racetrack?
Put them to work.
That's kind of scary. Now, Brad Walker wants to know, why not let the U cars run coilovers and caster camber adjusters? It would be much safer than the having the heat knuckles and beat them into place per spec.
That's something that we'd have to look into.
It makes sense, but also you're trying to keep that division on how that division
As stock as we could.
But I'm saying that's taking it out of the stock kind of situation
It is.
and making it more of a
race.
mini stock type
I
thing.
mean, what's the old deal? The U cars definition, you can't afford to race.
Yeah.
That's the reason why the division was actually started. And it does make sense. I understand the frustrations, and I think, Brian, you do as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had to work on them in the past, so you get it.
Yep.
So, it's, you can't, these type of situations need to come up during the season so we can start thinking about it if we were to try to make a change.
Yeah.
All right, now this question came up when I had Vaughn and all them here. This question came up about, why don't you all have meetings with the classes to sit down and talk with them before the season gets started? Of course, now we're at a point where it's too late to do that now anyway. But it's like Bill and Vaughn said before, it always turned into a pissing contest between everybody when they do that. That's
It is, honestly, there's a lot of teams and drivers that bring up great points. And those meetings are very beneficial at times, but they have to be mediated the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's one of these things you have to kind of, I wouldn't say control it, but not let it get out of control either. You want to respect the drivers, the crew chiefs, the owners, what their opinion is, but sometimes in the years past when Brian and I have been part of those meetings, if something doesn't go the way, then it creates a whole turmoil throughout the whole group. And then everybody gets upset, or these people get what they want and these people don't get what they want. And they know why they're doing it. And I know why you want that. So it's just one of those things that you definitely want to give them the opportunity to speak. And I think we've been pretty good about trying to let them speak. And don't ever shut anybody's idea down, because it might be probably one of the best ideas that come up for the class. But it has to be respectful and mediated the way it's supposed to be, in order for all teams to achieve one common goal, is to have a safe race car on the racetrack, something that's going to be competitive and equal to each other. That's the point of racing.
Well, we made the statement about being stock. Of course, you got to take certain things into whatever. Jesse Jones says enduros are stock, and Charlotte Bryant even said U-cars should be more progressive to build a true racer.
I can't disagree with the statement.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things that every division has its purpose at Langley, and that's the great thing. But since I've started here, Langley was a track that you could go from one division to the next and progress your talent level. And I think sometimes that's what some of the team builders get into at other racetracks and everything else. I'm not saying here, but they find a way to get in that gray area all the time. So you're trying to keep it as stock as possible. That way you see one car compared to the next car, and it's the same, because you're supposed to be competing against driver talent, not what somebody can do and what somebody can't do with a race car.
Or who has the money, who don't.
Right. I don't look at money in that situation.
Well, I'm just saying
But yet
that plays a point. That plays a part in everything. Who has the money can afford other things, and that's needless.
I mean, there's a lot of horses that are out of the stable that need to get back in the stable.
Well, come on now, Justin, get them in the stable.
We're trying, man.
You
At least put a fence around it.
Put a fence around it.
you and Brian got to get that under control.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a village. You know that. So it all comes together when everybody kind of works together as a team. But every race, I mean, every driver that comes out here and competes, they're not out here. They're out here to win. They're not here to run second. So they're trying to get. It's like all the way up in the national series. Everybody's trying to find that one little thing that makes the car better for them. So.
Dustin Connor says stock parts for our U cars are more than the aftermarket adjustable parts. If you were worried about the cost of things,
not stressed about the cost. I mean, really not. But because wherever you look at it this way, and Brian and I have been around for long enough, wherever you try to save a competitor money, they're going to take that money that they would have spent and spend it somewhere else. I mean, that's racing.
Yep.
It's been that way since I've been in the industry.
Now, I got tied up in a situation last year about people everybody making the same calls the same way, whatever. And if you have a different person up here, things may be different. Is what I was trying to say to these people, but that didn't go over the way you and I talked about it.
Yes, sir.
That situation. Are we back to square one with that now? We got that under control as far as the consistent calls. I mean, I'm not saying you don't do consistent calls, because I sit here and watch, and I've sat and watched other places too. I didn't see the same things I see here as far as being consistent, but that's somewhere else. But anyway, I know you. I know some of the calls you would make before you even make them. Sometimes I know what you're thinking. Not saying I'm any better than anybody else, but that situation we had last year, that was because you wasn't here. You didn't know what happened that night. But I think you got a little flack from it. Somehow or other, I got some flack from it because I said something. I just made what I thought was, the question I was asked.
Well, you got to look at it this way, and I'll give you the most politically correct answer I possibly can. When it comes down to a call that's in the tower, it's a split-second call.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's me or anybody else, no matter what the call is, that's the call. You back that call 100%. And I'll tell you right now, I'll back every call because of that situation. If I'm not here and somebody goes in, I'm backing their call. It's no ifs, ands, buts about it, because that's how that person or any person, and I've been in the tower too. I'm like, well, I would have made a call a different way. That I wouldn't have done that. But you know what? You still back that call 100% because that's the person who's making that call. Everybody calls a race in a different manner, and I've learned from a lot of people that have been in the industry a lot longer than I have. I look, I listen to video or watch video. I listen to recorded Camtasia files. A lot of people don't know this. You know, there's a lot of the races that I've called in the past have been recorded. That's the purpose of it, because somebody used to say, hey, you didn't say that over the radio. Yes, I did. And then here's the reason why. I can play it back for you. But when it comes down to a call, regardless of who's in the tower, that's the call that's made. It's unfortunately, it's a 50-50 chance whether you're going to like the call or hate the call.
And, you know, one person is different from other people and how they perceive and do things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the situation at that point, because that person didn't carry it out like you did or somebody else would have done.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what everybody got pissed off about.
Well, I mean,
The ones that cussed me out, well, that's the one they got pissed off about.
when it comes down to a call, I mean, it's you try to, whatever call you make to begin with, that's the call you have to try to stay with the rest of the year. Okay, if that's the same person calling it all year round. Okay, so but there are times that somebody's not going to be here, like myself, or you know, Shane in the past when he wasn't here. You know, other people called the race. That's their prerogative how they call the race, because that's how they call the race. You can't change that. You know, as long as it, you know, and it's basically stated. I mean, this is how I'm going to do it, and that's how it gets done. As long as you're precise and tell everybody exactly what you are going to do, there's no reason for them to get mad unless they're not listening in the driver's meeting. If they don't listen, then they missed it. Kind of like last year when first time we painted the cone on the racetrack. That was a big confusion. They're like, you didn't bring the cone. Well, in the driver's meeting, we told everybody it's painted on the racetrack now. We're not having a race. We're not
Exactly.
We're not having it. We're not having our cone out there because at that point it got to, you know, some nights we only had 2 people working pit road and people running back and forth. And when it comes to the safety on the track surface, it makes more sense to have one painted and not somebody running out there and drivers not paying
It makes
attention.
a whole lot more sense
Yeah,
to have somebody run out there and get it.
Yep.
Yeah, so some of us are not as young as we used to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's really crazy that.
I mean, we were looking for, I think Jeff Bowen actually made a call last year. He said, you know what, we ought to figure out a cone and tie a steering to it so we can yank it.
Well, that's what they were doing at Dominion. They had lights on it.
Yeah.
And they were pulling it across, but every time it fell over, the lights broke, and they had to stop the race and get the glass off.
So when we decided to put the cone out there, I mean, we discussed it in the driver's meeting. We told everybody it's not there anymore. So make sure your spotters are listening to the tower. If not, find a receiver, find some way to monitor the tower. I mean, because you get a lot of information out of the tower if you're just paying attention to it.
Yes, you do.
I know, Brian, you're over here, but you know, even you pay attention when I'm calling your name. So even in between, I'm like calling Brian, hey, I need you to do this now. And he's like, what? Say it? Okay, got it. You know, but he's listening. That's the point. I mean, if the spotters will listen to the tower or monitor the race, racing will go back faster because we can get cars moved where they're supposed to be. And we don't have to send officials on the racetrack and say, no, you're back this spot or back that spot.
So I'm hoping that, you know, these
Jack,
spotters.
where's your receiver when you're listening?
Oh, I got one. I don't bring it up here with me. I mean, you know, but I'm just saying it. You know, I hope these spotters, you know, they do pay attention to what's going on, because you know
some divisions are better than others. Some divisions are still such the old school way of just talking to their driver and that's it. And that's the reason why we try to put a spotters official in the wherever they're spotting from the spotter stand, because you get so much more information to the spotter, and the spotter can get it to the driver if they'll just listen. I mean, that's just the hardest part. I mean, it's one of those things you kind of wish sometimes it would be mandatory, I guess you'd call it, to have everybody like the late model races. I mean, every big late model show you go to and a lot of other tracks, it's mandatory that you listen to the spotter. I mean, listen to the tower.
So it's not mandatory here to.
Not every division, no. Late models are.
Late models are.
You're supposed to have a spotters person, a team official.
Well, see, I didn't know that either, because I was thinking all of them had to hear it.
Yep. No, you know, it's not 100% mandatory in every division here. But it is like mandatory in late models. It's per the rule book, this, that, and the other. A lot of the late model spotters, they listen to it. I mean, we have one sitting over here that's done it in the past. How crucial is it to you, Mason?
Oh, it's huge. And funny at times.
Yeah. Mason's called the rap over the radio before.
Now, there's a question here for you.
Okay,
So this is a good one now.
okay.
You made the statement earlier tonight that, or a little while ago, that you're not as young as you used to be, pulling that thing back across there. But they said it sure didn't look that way the other night at the banquet when you were doing all that dancing.
Well. Hey, it takes me a couple of days to recuperate though.
Lord. Well, I think that's all the questions we've got so far. I mean, that's all the ones I had and everything. And I want to say I appreciate you both being here, and didn't turn out as bad as I was expecting. I was expecting, you get mad, turn table over, and say I'm going home.
No. No. I mean, a lot of people understand. I don't like to get mad.
And I'm gonna honestly say, I've been up here. I've never seen you really get mad.
There's a couple other people that'll tell you different. Not so much as here, but other people that I worked at when I worked at Southern National, calling races down there. I used to beat on the window quite a few times, like the competitors or people on the ground were going to hear me. But that used to be the big joke. Mike Diaz used to tell me all the time. He said, "Man, one of these days I'm going to have to replace that window because you're going to knock it out." Sometimes I do, because I'm like, "Come on, get to it." But no, the team that's up here in the tower, it's a great team to work with. Sometimes I'll be the first to tell you I don't listen to them, and I probably should, because one of these days they're going to get up and knock me out, and they're going to be like, "I got the radio from here on out." But it's one of those things that the team that Langley has assembled over the years, it's a great team. It's a great group of people to work with, no matter where you're at. And I've been privileged at this racetrack to go from pretty much almost every position here at the racetrack. And I'm very thankful for that, because I had a lot of great mentors. I worked with Brian for years on the ground. I worked turn 2, and then I moved into the tech shed with Brian and Shane. And I was very fortunate to listen, look, learn, and try to absorb all the information I possibly can.
The funniest thing about the first time I met you or seen you, you were up here doing safety for one of the races.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting here, and I'm watching you write all over this board, all over this window right here. And I'm going, what the hell does he think he's doing, sitting up here writing off? I mean, everything is being on. He's writing it on the window. I'm saying, what's he doing? I mean, I don't understand it. So I had to sit there and really pay attention to what you were doing. But you're right on top of everything. I have to give you that.
It's the dry erase board. It lets me know when all the equipment, when I was calling fire and safety, it lets me know that all the equipment's back at home where it needs to be. Or if the safety team calls up and says, "Hey, listen, we're going to do about driver evaluation," I make a note of it. That way I know to go back and check on them. If I haven't heard back from them 10 or 15 minutes, I need to figure out what's going on. And at the same time, it gives an opportunity to let the race director know exactly what's going on as well, because he might have to red flag the race and we might have to transport. It's just my quick notes and radio checks and everything else. And I got in trouble a couple of times by leaving it up there and forgetting to clean it off. So after that, I started carrying alcohol wipes and wiping everything down at the end of the night. I think Curtis Hughes got on me one time before because I left everything up there after one of their big races.
Well, Justin, we see you in action. I'm over a couple booths down, but take us through a typical day. What time do you get here? What do you do throughout the day?
Get here in the morning when track opens up, 11:30, 12 o'clock in that ballpark. Come up here to the tower.
Yeah, I've been here about 3 hours.
You have. But Christine and I show up once we get here. We come up here to the tower. We go through everything. We try to get as many notes as possible. Any issues that's come up during the week. We talk about a few things, Christine and I on the way here, and then Stephanie and Paul as well. And then I leave the tower and go to Chuck's office and figure out anything that's going on for the racetrack operations during the day, and then try to communicate that back to the team as fluently as possible. And there's some things that I get pulled in a million directions for and I forget to tell people. It's like that anywhere. Answer any questions that the guys might have. competitors. Brian and I, we have a communication. We talk about a few things. We talk about what we want to do for tech that night. And then the good thing about the staff here, and I will call her out, Christine Mackey, she by far, when she walks through the pits, her and Stephanie, they get everybody checked in. They meet everybody with a warm welcome. I don't think there's a competitor that they have ever seen that they didn't like or met with a smile, or any crew member. And then we're very fortunate that Christine is able to take the radio and call practice all day long. And she's very good at it. So she keeps everybody in line, keeps me in line, keeps me on my marks as well. If time is getting up and we need to figure out one way or the other, we start moving stuff around. She starts adapting and overcoming. And with Paul up here taking care of the scoring system, and Paul has a lot of issues dealing with transponders or getting stuff registered. After that, it's basically I'm on the ground trying to talk to competitors, seeing if they have any issues. And of course, you always get pulled in a million directions out there because of something that happened the week before or something they think needs to change. And we try to make as many notes as possible. So after that, Christine finishes up practice, have the driver's meeting. She comes back up here if it's not enduro night, because she loves the enduro guys and gals. So she does the pill pool for them, and Stephanie goes out there and helps her sometimes. And sometimes Stephanie has to come back up here in order to take care of stuff with Paul. So it's a scramble that night. And then once she gets done with it's enduro night, or if it's regular night, she'll come up here and then she does qualifying for the most part. Gives me an opportunity to kind of calm down and relax a minute, and then 7 o'clock rolls around and we're ready to go. And then it gets chaotic at times up here. But like I said, the scoring department that's here at Langley Speedway are by far some of the best people I've ever worked with. I've worked with Christine for many years. I've worked with Stephanie for many years. I've worked with Paul.
Stephanie just has that pencil going.
Yeah.
Just a mile a minute.
A mile a minute, yeah.
Well, this is the last question I'm going to ask you.
Well, I'm not done yet.
Oh.
And after the race is over, whether I go down there and get yelled at or.
I'm worried about that. That's just part of your job.
The fun part.
Yeah.
No, the competitors have been, they were very nice. All of them were very respectful this year. If they had a concern, one of my biggest concerns was don't yell, don't cuss. And, you know, if we are that upset, let's walk away and come back within 5 or 10 minutes, see if we can't talk about it. There's always a solution. It's just a matter of how we work the problem to get there.
All right, my last question for you is this.
Brian?
No, this is not a bad question.
Okay.
How in the world have you worked with Stephanie like you do? Somebody's always got to be sitting there telling her, you need to pay attention to what you're doing. I mean, I sit here and beat that window half to death trying to get her to pay attention.
Well, that's you aggravating her.
Oh, I'm not. She's not paying attention.
She's paying attention. I've been very fortunate to work with, like I said, some great Christine and Stephanie by far, and Paul are some of the best people I've ever had to work with. I worked with Christine quite a few times at Southern National when I first started going down there calling the Thanksgiving Classic. And then after that, I got the chance to work with Stephanie as well when Christine and I were running Southern National for Michael Diaz. Christine took care of everything on the outside, took care of competitors. I mean, she's by far probably one of the strongest people at a racetrack I've ever met. But I had a chance to work with Stephanie for 2 years calling races up there. And Stephanie and I ended up having a knack that, you know, she knew what was required at certain times. I mean, and it's just one of those things that, like I said, I've been very fortunate, me personally, been very fortunate to work with probably some of the best in the business.
How much money you got in your pocket?
$0.
Brandy Marshall says you're a great race director. I'm sure you had to pay for that.
No. I mean, I tell you that one of the first times that Christine and I ever worked together at Southern National calling Thanksgiving Classic, boy, she said, I ain't never working with you again. That's how bad it was that one first time. But we figured out a way to work together, and that's the concept.
Everybody has to work with somebody. You just gotta, you gotta find a way to do it. That's the way I do with Scott. I have to find a way to get through it. And that's the reason why I get so excited when Brian comes. I don't have to worry about that, did she? But anyway, thanks for coming tonight, man. We really appreciate it, even though you didn't have, you had your standard answer and you didn't.
Exactly.
So, but you did a great job explaining things. I appreciate you being here tonight. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. wish Brian would have been talking more.
Well, I mean, you handle all his, he handled all the glory.
That's right.
That's your job, to make him look good.
No. I will tell you this. I sit on the shoulders of giants. I do. The team that, like I said, the team that Langley has here, nobody that's calling a race or trying to head up the program could be any better without a team underneath them. So.
Yeah, you do have a good group up here. I'll have to give you that.
Not I. Langley has a great
Well,
group.
Langley has, but you're kind of like the in charge person.
No.
You're running the kindergarten.
No. No. Like I said, it's been, there's a lot of people that put in time and effort and go above and beyond here at this racetrack that makes it succeed. And I know Bill and I have talked in the past, and everybody who's ever worked with this group says, holy cow, it's a great group of people to work with.
Andrew Grady, who's going to be coming on the show in just a minute, he made the comment, you're the best race director he's ever seen, period.
Wow.
So
Man.
so there's some more money you got to pay out.
I don't have no money.
All right. Well, if y'all want to hang around, you can. If you need to get going, I'm gonna let Brian get up for a second. Let Brian get over there because we're going to do Andrew Grady. It's up to y'all whether you want to stay or go, whatever you want to do. I'm not running you off or anything like that.
That's okay. I've done talked enough for tonight.
You ain't said nothing hardly. But I am going to come down to the tech shed one night, hang out with you, and see what you do down there.
Sounds like you gotta go early. He's there.
Oh, he's
Sounds like
3
a
hours
fine
early.
job.
Yeah, my job starts about 9:30 in the morning.
It's a long day. 15, 16-hour day.
Yes, sir.
But you love it. You wouldn't do anything other than that, would you?
No, sir.
Okay, I figured that. All right, let's bring on Andrew Grady and talk with him. He's got a new thing going on with him coming up.
How you doing, guys?
How's it going?
I'm doing pretty well, doing very well, getting ready for the big Cars Tour race this weekend. Big announcement. We're going to do that. We're going to do that whole deal this year, all 17 races. Super excited to do it, man. Unbelievably excited to do it.
Now, you with Mike Darn, right? You're going to be doing
Yes, sir.
racing
Still with Mike Darn. That's our home. Still going to be there for the foreseeable future. Super excited about that as well.
Now, who is your crew chief going to be?
Well, Mike, this race, Mike's actually going to be running against me. He's still my crew chief, but I have Tyler Wolf this weekend. He's pretty much going to be my crew chief this weekend. Tyler is Mike's nephew. We've worked together the past couple years, won a good amount of races together. Got a lot of faith in him, a lot of faith in all my guys. Just really excited to get the ball rolling for this year.
Well, cool. I'm glad to hear. I mean, I know I've heard a lot about you over the years and your racing and everything. So give us a little background. A lot of people around here don't really know a whole lot about you. So tell us a little bit about your background and everything.
Well, I started racing at my home track, which is Wake County Speedway. It's a little bull ring, little under quarter mile, real tight. Started running their late model class, which is a pretty much run what you brung class. We ran pretty well there, moved to Southern National. I got hooked up with Mike, started running limiteds there. We dominated limited there for a couple years. We won a lot of races. I won the championship in 2018. Then we made the jump to late model there, won a couple races there, won some at Wake County, ran good at Caraway. We've been fast everywhere we've went so far. I'm really looking forward to just moving around. Really, the only places I've ran so far is Southern National and Wake County, my home tracks around here. So lacking a little bit of experience everywhere else, but I'm definitely going to learn some experience this year racing with these guys in the Cars Tour. I see that.
There we go. We're back. And there's Andrew back.
Oh, I guess the Russians tapped into our stream or something. I'm not sure what happened.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was the electric bill hadn't been paid or what. It just all of a sudden went out, and Brian came over here and fixed with something and got it back. But anyway.
All right, cool. We're good. Glad to be back on.
So go ahead and pick up where you left off. Tell us a little about your history and where you came from.
So I pretty much ran at two tracks mostly, which is Wake County, which is in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Kinley, which is in Kinley, North Carolina, Southern National Motorsports Park. We dominated limited there for a really long time, and everybody decided it was time to make the jump to late model. Made the jump. It was a little bit of a learning curve. The guys in limited and late model race totally different. You know, you've got 3 or 4 guys in a limited class that are really good. When you jump to late model, you've got 10 guys that are really good. So that was a little bit of a learning curve. Learned that pretty well. Started mastering Southern National in the late model. Then we went to Caraway, went to Jacksonville. Just bounced around a little bit, trying to get a handle on these cars, and doing pretty well so far. We should have honestly finished top 5 at the Classic last year, but I had a brake problem and that killed my run. But I had a lot of fun. I'm really learning a lot running against these guys.
Well, cool. And I know you're glad to be going full time in the Cars Tour. That's got to be a big deal for you.
Yeah, definitely. I ran my first Cars Tour race last year at Wake County, and we got tangled up with Connor about 5 laps in and still finished 7th. It was a really good run for us. It just running against these guys, man, they really are the best in the country in this class. They really are. Justin Johnson, Deke, all them guys, they are very, very good at what they do, and I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Now, you being down there with Mike Darn, he's got a lot of good equipment down there, and I know having his experience behind you will make you even better. So I know that's a good thing in your behalf.
Oh, for sure, definitely. Mike's got a ton of experience between him and my dad. They've got 100 years between them. And Townsend Oliver building these amazing race cars, Robbie White building these amazing motors. We've got a really good program going, and I'm looking forward to continue carrying the flag for us. That's for sure.
Now you got a guy working there at Mike Darn. I don't know how much he works. He maybe just hanging around. You know Dave Adams, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know David. He's him and my daddy been friends for 20, 25 years, 100 years, somewhere in that aspect. They've been friends for a real long time.
Well, Dave may not, your dad may not want everybody to know he's been friends with Dave Adams. Not a lot of people do.
Hey, I think that goes both ways, though, don't it?
I don't know. I've been friends with Dave Adams for a long time, too, so I guess I have to say I can't say anything bad.
Yeah, David's a good guy. He's been around racing a long time, just like everybody else. He knows his stuff. He sure does.
So you're going to run the Cars Tour. Are you going to be running any other races in the other places?
Definitely towards the end of the year, we're definitely going to go big money hunting. Definitely going to do that this year. Going to go to Martinsville for my first time. I'm really looking forward to that. That's a dream of mine to at least turn laps around that place. The Classic, I really want to come to Langley at least once this year with the Cars Tour and before then. That's a tricky racetrack, so I'm definitely going to have to come up there and run a Saturday night show with the local guys to learn the place.
Yeah, when you do that, you come on up. Bring Dave Adams with you. He can sit in the chair and watch.
Yeah, yes, sir, will do. But I definitely want to come up there and run with them guys. Y'all have a great field of late models, and Justin was the race director at Southern National, and he is truly one of the best race directors I've ever seen. He runs a great ship. He keeps everybody in line, and he runs a really smooth show.
Well, the thing is, you've already got your Cars Tour ride and everything. You don't have to suck up to Justin Ellis at all. I mean,
No, I know that. Justin is a good guy, though. But when he puts on that headset, he's 100% business, whether he's friends with you off the racetrack or not. And I respect that a lot. Justin really is a good guy.
Okay, now how much did that cost you?
I'm sorry, say that again?
How much did that cost you to say that? I mean, I'm sure Justin's charging for that.
Well, I haven't exactly sent him the bill for it, but he'll get it after this, I promise you.
Now, what you say you've never been to Martinsville before. I know you got to be excited about the opportunity to run Martinsville, but that's a whole different beast than what you'll be running during the year.
Yeah, Martinsville's it's definitely a different beast altogether. Just the attrition on the cars is something I've noticed just from turning laps all day Friday. It really takes a toll on the motors. I've seen a lot of motor failures the last couple of years we've been up there. And honestly, just surviving the heat races in itself is a really big deal. You can get wrecked leading the race. You can get wrecked running 15th in it. It really doesn't matter. Lady Luck, she really doesn't have any favorites in Martinsville. She knows no grounds when it comes to that place.
So who all you got sponsoring you for your upcoming cars races and stuff?
ABC Hosiery and Apparel and Gildan. Those are my two main sponsors we're carrying on board this year. Gildan's been with me for a long time, and I really appreciate them coming on board with the Cars Tour.
Okay, well, cool. That's a good deal to have everybody back, and you got a good race team to race with, and I know you're excited, and hopefully we'll see you up here at Langley at some point.
Yes, sir. I promise you. I'm gonna bring that black one car up there one weekend to race with your guys for sure. Looking forward to it.
Okay, all right. Well, we're looking forward to it too. I'm sorry we had the little problem we did, but sometimes that I have a feeling that was Justin Ellis that did that too. But anyway,
I'm for sure. You just make sure you tell him I'm waiting on my payment.
Oh, okay. I'll tell him. I will make sure I tell him that. He's sitting here listening too.
Hey, Justin.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate your time, and tell Dave when you see him, he needs to do something besides sit around and just do nothing all day long.
Oh, for sure. I'll make sure I tell him that. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I've been a long time listener to your show, and I love it, and I really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
And look, let me tell you something else. Make sure the screwdriver and hammers and stuff like that fit in Dave's hands. I don't think he's had one in his hand for a while.
Him with a hammer anytime, whether he's been with it or not, kind of scares me, honestly.
Yeah, well, that would scare me too. You're right. All right, Andrew. Thank you, man. We'll talk to you again soon, and hopefully we'll see you when you come up here.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
All right, you too, man. Appreciate it.
Talk to you later. Thanks, guys.
All right, well, I just got the note that Harris Super Trucks, Harris Body and
Truck shop.
Harris Truck and Body Shop.
Harris Truck and Body Shop will be back with the trucks again this year. So that's a pretty big deal.
Absolutely.
Just announced it.
That wasn't announced, or it was just announced.
Just called me.
Oh, just called you. Okay.
Longtime supporter of the racetrack, so that was awesome.
Yeah, Terry's been around for a long time. Now we got Brian in here. Brian, give us a little highlights of the banquet the other night before we go off.
Wow, the banquet, that was a good time. Good time. A lot of folks danced afterwards. I mean, good program overall. I think, wow, 500, almost 500 people at the awards banquet. So
Yeah.
good turnout.
And I think the thing that probably impressed me more than anything was to see Davey Millard show up. I mean,
That was a touching moment, wasn't it?
yeah, I was sitting there, and when you started the champ carts on the thing there, I turned and looked at my wife and I said, it would really be cool if we could have Davey here.
Right.
That would really been cool. And I wasn't expecting, because I didn't hear anything about Danny coming, Davey, or any of them coming.
Right.
And when he walked through that door, I have to say I got a little emotional about it myself, and I'm not one that that was a big deal to see him be there, and that was unbelievable.
Wow, it was. I think I found out maybe 10 minutes before the program started, because it was really hush-hush to try to surprise everybody. And what a good surprise that was, because he means so much to the people here at this racetrack and our community.
That's the one thing. He was willing to help anybody. I saw him out there helping a lot of people, and in the racetrack and everything. And you see how much the people think of him when he came through that door.
A standing ovation.
Everybody, and I just stood there and I couldn't believe he was there, and it was really cool. And I think I heard they were around the corner there, and I know that if he decided he did want to do it, they were going to go on and not do it. But
right. I
think it was great. And had I known, I did not know when they left out of the room. I thought they were leaving. I mean, I didn't think it would, they'd hang around too long. I heard they were out in the hall, and I wish I'd have known. I didn't even know they were out there, because I would have gone out there and talked with them. But
right.
That was pretty tough. But I'm glad to see that that he was there, and that was a highlight to me for the whole night.
I think you're right. It really was special moment for sure.
And Christine getting her award as for the racetrack and everything, I thought that was pretty cool. So
I agree.
I didn't see Mason there much. I saw him one time, and
They shoved me in the back. I'm a nobody.
well, I was all the way up in the end there. So.
There was a ton of people I didn't run into. There were so many people there, and I thought, I didn't see such and such. I rattled off 3 names I didn't see, and they were certainly there. Our paths didn't cross. But so it was a good time overall.
I almost got run over by
Scott
on his little go-kart there. He about run over me.
Look like Rick Townsend riding around there.
I think Scott and Davey, Scott wanted to race Davey.
I heard that.
Racetrack, mapped out there in the convention center. So,
but that was cool to be a part of that, to see that happen. And congratulations to all the winners, all the champions, all the rookie of the years. I didn't write them all down. I should have wrote them down. I didn't write them down.
Sportsman of the year.
I mean, the only thing is I did demand a recount in the Pro 6 division for the Sportsman of the Year.
Gotcha. Okay.
I did demand a recount there. I need to talk with Bill about that, because I really don't think that vote turned out like it was supposed to. You might want to check on that one. So anyway.
We may know somebody who got that, but
I know somebody got it and did not let me forget it as we were walking out the door either. But
he won't let you forget that for a while.
And the good thing about it is you're here and he's not. And because if he had been here, he'd had all his stuff laid out here.
Right here.
I mean, he won one race one year, and that trophy stayed here for like 6 weeks. And you get tired of one guy being like he's better than everybody else. But anyway.
Well, speaking of awards, did you see today's news?
No.
So, he was supposed to happen last year, the year before, but now it's happening this year. Danny Edwards is getting inducted into the Virginia Peninsula Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's cool.
Alongside Michael Vick and a bunch of others. Al Pierce on August 7th.
Wow,
So it's going to be a
that is cool.
dinner, and I'm sure we'll turn it into a party.
Where is that at?
Reading Ron's post at the Boo Williams Sportsplex, so not far down the road.
Yeah, okay.
That is too cool. Well deserved, right? I mean,
Exactly.
think of an icon for this racetrack and racing in general.
You said Al Pierce is going to be in.
Yeah, the list this year's class is Danny, Michael Vitt, Sheila Trice, Tony Rutland, Donnie White, Howard White, Special Achievements, Al Pierce, Dr. William Hart.
Al Pierce.
That is too cool.
And that's somebody I didn't see at the banquet the other night either.
You know, I don't recall running into him.
I don't remember seeing him at all at the and it was free food and he wasn't there and that scared me. I was going to call him at home and I never
Where's
did.
he at, man? Yeah.
But I told my wife, I said, he ain't here. That's unusual for him not to be here. But yeah, it was really good to have a nice night like that. Now get ready for the season to start.
I'm telling you, and I think I made a couple of comments just how good it felt to look out in the room and see people seated together or in person, right? Because I mean, 2020 we did the banquet right here, and kudos to Vaughn. I mean, he was in the PA booth putting this thing together, the big spotlight and camera, and you know, I'm sitting here talking to a computer screen, and I know there are people out there, but it just felt different, right?
Yeah.
And I'm glad we could do that. And again, Vaughn did a fantastic job putting it together, but to have 500 people back in the room celebrating together and champions being able to hold their award up high and people are there celebrating them. Man, that felt good.
It was a
And
lot.
no fights.
No fights. That's
I didn't see nobody argue.
we're just having too much fun.
Did anybody argue that you saw?
That's all.
I usually look around towards your direction to see if anybody's
I
arguing.
was too far back to heckle Bean. I told him I was going to do it, but I was too far back. He went early.
And Butterbean 2 in a row.
So Butterbean got 2 in a row, and I don't know how many of this is for Phil as a owner or as a crew chief and a driver here at Langley Speedway. At least 10, 13.
Wow.
He got 3. Well, no, he did 2 or 3 with CE. So if he got 3 with CE, that would be 12.
Wow.
Still
That's where we need
incredible.
Amy would know.
And think about it, it not all the same driver. I mean, he's done it with different people, different eras.
Different, like the error part in itself, different race cars. It's incredible.
And now he's got his grandson coming along, and that's going to be interesting too. I can't wait to see some of these new teams that come out this year. Mason's got a Pro 6 coming out of the Edwards shop.
I'm just helping.
I'm just saying,
It's these.
you're part of the team, but
Yeah,
I'm saying,
we're excited for that. It'll be fun.
Chris
So-
Bechtel, he's going to
Yeah.
be in the Pro 6s this year.
that's going to be interesting because Scott finished in the top 5, even though there wasn't 4 cars running. But
I've had Donovan every week that when Scott would park in the infield, I'd be like, all right, here's what you need to say. And I sent him over to Scott to talk trash.
you got to say something about Scott. We don't want him to win another Sportsman of the Year. It'd make you mad. He won't win another. But it was Danny Millard said it was great to see everybody on Saturday night. It was good to see everybody.
But Danny's still ducking me on the NHL. He don't want them to smoke. So
Well, when you're as
golf
great,
course and NHL, he's ducking.
well, but when you're as great as Danny is out here in these champ carts, I mean, he's a legend. He's a living legend. And
He still ain't bought one yet. I'm still the reigning defending king of the hill out here. They ain't had one since, but don't
Hold on to it then.
So you done ticked everybody off, and now
They canceled the race entirely. They said they can't top it.
So tell us a little bit now. You got Dixieland coming open too, and that's going to be a big deal.
Dixieland cranks up Friday night, May 6th.
So are they going?
40th race season, 4 decades. It's incredible.
Are they going to have any practice sessions in ahead of
They
time?
are. The 2 Friday evenings prior to that, late April, they'll have a couple practice sessions and then fully crank up May 6th. And I mean, it's every Friday night through the end of August with the exception of Independence Day weekend. They're going to have the Steel Block Bandits Dirt Late Model Challenge, which was a new series that started last year. Very popular series. They're coming back this coming year. They got a big East Coast National late model race that'll be there in the summer. They'll have the Virginia Sprint Series back 3 times next year, so it's going to be a fun time on dirt. to go racing on Friday night. So come to Dixieland on Friday night and come to Langley on Saturday.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen Jr. is going to race down there.
Who?
Butterbean.
Oh,
Yeah, that was announced.
Morgan
He
Wallen
announced
Jr.
that. Yeah, Morgan Wallen Jr.
okay. I got that one over my head to start with.
Yeah, Brendan announced at the banquet, and because we'd heard rumors and talked to some folks that he said he was going to run full time at Dixieland this coming season. So that'll be fun. He'll be cutting his teeth on dirt.
Well, we'll see how that works out for him. That'll be. I liked it when Mark was down there. When Mark Worth was down there, maybe him and Bill can get into it a couple times. I don't know if Bill still got his dirt car or not. So
I think he does. Yeah.
But he's fallen in love with that sprint car.
He really has. Bill has he's gotten into the sprint racing. Him and Billy Hubbard.
yeah, that's cool.
They've been successful at it too.
Well, that'll be fun to see what we got going on. And they're racing SUVs there as well.
We are. SUV series cranks up this year for the first time, so more to come on that.
Oh yeah, I need to find out what that's all about.
Yeah, brand new. Red announced that I think late last year, early this year. So yeah. And we go this Day of Destruction not this weekend, but the next weekend here at Langley.
That's right. I forgot about that. That's coming up too. You
That's
gonna be
like
doing
the
anything in the
highlight.
Day of Destruction?
I'll be in Florida. I have a car, but it's back behind the shed. So I'll be in October if this. I was going to race if it was this weekend, and I sent Vaughn a nasty text as soon as he pushed it. Because I already had flights and everything. That's what it is.
Were you going down to do the?
Saunders bachelor party.
Okay.
Celebrate.
Something we might not be able to talk about after.
Well, I was thinking maybe you were going down for one of the big races down like. Isn't the Rattler coming up?
The Rattlers this weekend. I got a call about going to Hickory that weekend, but I got Tyler going so he can get exposed to the super side of things and see if we can't get him on the team for the Derby this year. So he can experience the hell week that we call the Derby.
Well, all right. Well, anything else going on?
Yeah, I mean, we got the Day of Destruction, and then opening up the race season officially April 2nd. So
Wacky Banquet tomorrow.
right around the
Starts in
corner.
May.
Week what?
Wacky Wednesday.
That starts.
And everything that happens at this racetrack.
Oh, that's Wednesday.
Banquets tomorrow, and we start back up May 12th. That's a Wednesday.
Y'all have a banquet for Wacky Wednesday?
Yeah, we're doing it at a brewery, so it's way better than the track banquet.
At a brewery.
Yeah, right here down the road in
Alright.
St. George's.
I might have to figure out a way to go to that.
And it's only
What is
$10 to get in.
it? Even better.
Wow, that'd be
Yeah.
cool. That's gonna be a cool deal.
Let me get my dates right. We are having practice, I believe, on Saturday, April 2nd. The first race at Langley is actually Saturday, April the 9th. So let me make sure I get that right. April 9th. So,
And that's the same weekend as Martinsville,
Yeah,
from what I.
because I'm hoping that we have a good day of practice and we get back to the shop, unload the car, and I'm going to hightail my butt to Richmond. Hopefully see that 8-car win.
because Richmond's on a Sunday. Both Richmond dates, Sunday afternoon.
I ain't worried about the cup race. I'm worried about that Xfinity
Xfinity
race.
race, yeah.
Help that boy in 8.
Dang, I had to tell you said that. That just, I mean, that, because I was planning on going to Richmond and Martinsville.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So,
You still can, right? I mean, it's still possible.
yeah, it's still possible.
Saturday night here, Sunday there. With the exception of Martinsville.
I'm about to say, is
Martinsville's
Martinsville?
Saturday night, right?
Yeah, I think
Martinsville's
It's
Martinsville's
a night
Saturday
race
night
in the
show.
spring.
yeah, Martinsville's a Saturday night this time.
That's right.
All right, everybody. That's our show for tonight. Appreciate Brian. I know he didn't get a whole lot of screen time with us tonight,
That's
but
probably better for the audience.
I really appreciate you doing this for me and coming up here and being with us.
Happy to do it. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we'll get you back again soon. I know you're busy next week, but I tell you what, I've got next week's schedule partially set for Angelo Stallion. Is one of the
Angelo
guests
Stallion?
next week. He's going to be with us next week. That's going to be a big deal. But on the 22nd of, we're going to have Brendan Queen, Matt Carter, and Jared Clark, and possibly Blake Harris from the Cup Series.
Wow.
We're going to have all of them on the show.
Big night. Yeah.
So we're gonna have some fun that night, and we'll talk with Brendan and about Matt going over to the.
Coming up to
Late
late model
models, yeah.
series. Yeah. That'll be fun to watch.
I asked him. This is a good question. I asked him in the bathroom as we were walking out of the bathroom. No, it wasn't me. It was Shane Snyder. Asked him first, "What you doing next year?" That's what he's going late model. I've already heard the story about him going
I
late.
mean,
He said,
that
"Where
was
did
kept secret.
I said, how did you, he said, how did you hear that? I said, I know, I've heard that. I've already heard it. He said, yeah, we're going late model next. We'll do both of them next year. So that's a pretty cool
It's
deal.
gonna be busy.
Yep.
For
He's
sure.
gonna pull a Rick Godova. But anyway, thank you, Brian. Appreciate you making the effort to come all up here. I know gas prices are not fun, but
Yeah, I didn't even look like, I feel like I'm in California, right? Like
Yes.
$4 and $5 a
Jesus,
gallon.
I stopped to get gas on the way up here, and I said, man, I don't know. We may have to go back and review this again. But anyway, that's our show for tonight. Thank you very much. Sorry for the little mishap in there. Evidently, I pulled something loose or something happened. But anyway, Scott wasn't here, and luckily Brian wasn't. He got us back up and running, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, thank you. We'll see you next week.
Take care.